Red Factor Network, keeping Edolites connected worldwide.
This one's for the beautiful mamas all over the world. For whatever you done for me, sweet mama, sweet baby, sweet sugar. This one's for you. Come on.
When Edo people move, they move to international cities all over the world like London.
The reason why we're here, sweet mama, dedicate this one to you. Sweet mama, number one.
Do you think the government is listening to the youths, or are you going to listen to the crowd, the youths yourself?
For the governor, I think it has different aides that has to brief him on that. That's not my job, but as a citizen, as an adolite, I think I have to reach out to the governor whichever way I can.
You would think it's the glamour, security, and job opportunities that keep them there. But no, we find out that most of us would like the opportunity to go back home and live at any time.
So that my life can be
Get our hearts together for Christ's sake. As a nation, as a people, let us begin to refocus and re-engineer our energy towards things that are more positive, things that will really touch lives, and by extension make your life a better, being Nigeria a better place for everybody. Like for instance now, I wouldn't want to be in this country forever.
Watch in Diaspora on Red Factor Network, showing on EBS every Tuesday 1 o'clock to 2:30 and Friday 10 o'clock to 12 at midnight.
Sweet mama, you are my number one. Sweet mama, my number.
Welcome to the Diaspora. This is the show that connects Nigerians in diaspora to Nigerians back home. Bring you a bit more understanding in terms of lifestyle, in terms of problems, in terms of prosperity. And today we're going to start from Edo State, because that's where I'm from. And Edo State has so many tribes, it mirrors the information we would want to take right across Nigeria and right across Africa. In this episode, we're going to be talking to Edo people, various tribes of Edo people situated in London, situated around the world, telling you about how they feel about being in the diaspora, why they left Nigeria, what they expect from Nigeria, what their prayers are for Nigeria as it stands, and why they're not coming back home just now. We're going to meet a politician, we're going to meet a regular Nigerian, a barbershop owner, we're going to meet an educated Nigerian, a musician. We're just going right across the spectrum for Edo State on this particular edition. My name is Osei Yamu, and I'm your host for The Diaspora. Stay tuned. I hope you enjoy the show. Hey guys, we're back. It's Red Factor. Anything Edo, anything at all worldwide, we're there. And today is such an interesting day. We have in the U.S., we have Barack Obama, 44 years old, U.S. President. And today we have somebody from Edo State. We have somebody from Asaka Central. We have John Osikela Aloye. He's a political aspirant for Asaka Central, 2012 election. He's young, he's just touched 40, and the face of politics is changing worldwide. So why not Edo State? Well, without wasting your time anymore, we intend to find out what John Aloye brings to Edo State. He is well-traveled, well-educated. He lives in United Kingdom, been at home more recently, and let's find out about the man himself. Mr. John, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Good. Nice to have you here with us.
It's a pleasure.
Good. It surprises me that a guy from London who has maybe escaped all the problems in Edo State has now decided that he wants to go back to run for a political position. And why is that?
Right. Well, I can remember the last time I actually left Nigeria. That was in 1993, and then I was in Auchipoli. There was this fight. The June 12th election was
The Abiola stuff, yes.
Then, and I've always got this thing on my mind that one day, hopefully, I'll come back to this country to maybe govern, start from somewhere. So it's something that's always been in my mind to do. So I think this is the best time. I think this is the best time I'm going to try and push for it. Although I did that in 2006 and 2007, I wasn't nominated, but I tried my best, and I'm trying again.
Good, good. I think you're going to get there. And you are from Fuga.
Yeah, I'm Fuga, Isako Central.
Which is the same place the present governor is from.
The present governor is from Isako West.
Okay.
I'm from Central. Okay. So we are all from Edo North.
He's not your man?
He's my man. He's
okay.
my man.
Okay.
He's a good man. Yeah,
good. Okay. Now, when is the elections actually? Is it next year? Is it this year? Is it
which of the elections?
The chairmanship for the region, for the area you're going for?
Right. We are looking at after the governorship election, which is coming up in July next year.
Okay.
2012. So we're looking at probably 2013. We're not sure yet. So we're waiting for the dates and timetables. But we are ready to go.
You've already started campaigning?
Yeah, we've started.
This is great. You know, things have changed. It's good. Now, we're going to ask you more intimate questions to say. There's so many things going wrong with Edo State now.
Right.
There's politicians there. I can assume there's an Isako Central chairman as we speak. You know. Now, you tell us, what do you think you can bring to the party? You know, something that will benefit the citizens of Edo State, something they're suffering from. Say we start from the unemployment, the youth unemployment.
Right.
I mean, have you seen the state of the Edo State, the youth from Edo State? Yeah. Do you think they're in a good state? Do you think they show promise? Or what would you bring to the youths of Edo State in terms of unemployment?
Right. Well, first of all, I can say I'll commend the present government for their work, and we know Nigeria itself, we're trying to grow, and with time, I believe things will definitely work. Like we had previous administrations that have been there for maybe we'll say 11 and a half years, and there was this same problem. So we have a new government and a new governor, which I think is doing very well in creation of roads, schools. Like if you go through Edo State today, all part of Edo State, there's reconstruction of schools and roads. He's trying to create infrastructures for these people, but everything will take time. Like
is true.
Like we know, because he's just come in, you know, it has to take time to arrange things. That's why we're praying that we'll be able to re-elect him to continue his work. So hopefully by then, we'll be able to create more jobs for youths and empower them.
I won't beat around the bush, even if I love to, but the biggest problems we face today in Edo State is there's a lot of problems, but we'll start from kidnapping and or the demographics of people that are doing kidnapping.
Right.
And maybe before I go on to others, now kidnapping is a very sensitive subject.
Yeah.
If I had to take sides, I'm almost inclined to say if I was in the same conditions as most of the graduates doing kidnapping, you know, maybe that might be my only option.
Yeah.
Now, why, under this present administration, he's actually going for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Would you say the best thing to do was to start tarring roads and doing primary schools when the roads are actually leading nowhere?
Right.
You know, and that is why we have a situation now. People are still migrating out of Edo State, not coming in.
Okay.
You know, so why don't you? Where would you start from? Considering in mind we have a serious problem on our hands.
Yeah. First of all, in every state there are crimes, and Edo State in particular, which we know right now, kidnapping has become something else, which is really, really bad. That's like insecurity, and it's making a lot of people go away from the state, which I understand, but at the end of the day, we need to be working with the government, give information to the police, and I believe creation of jobs would help that. But if you come to look at it, I feel for one, that's my own opinion, is I feel it's to do with greed.
On which side? The side of the politicians or the kidnappers?
On both sides. I'm going to expatiate on it.
Okay.
Like on the kidnapper side, like most kidnapping incidents that have been reported, that have been caught, if you look at it, there's always a family member involved.
Yes.
Somebody who's to go set up a meeting with certain people and say, oh, my cousin, my brother, or my mom or my dad has certain amounts and we can get something out of it.
Yes.
That's one. On the government part of it, the police, for instance, I would say they're not doing their job very well, because at the end of the day, I know the government is trying as much as possible to provide all the necessary equipment for them to do their jobs.
It's also said that the police in Edo State spending their time protecting the rich, you know, as opposed to protecting the rights of the poor.
Right.
And also the not the previous administration, this present administration. Are they lost somewhere? Because nobody's talking about creation of modern jobs for the youths. I don't expect you left Nigeria in 1993. Maybe it was possible in 1993 for a young man like yourself to work in the Secretariat or Oredo Council. That is not the case in 2011. So in terms of creation of modern jobs, does the government have the know-how? They need to know how to create modern jobs before these jobs are filled up. Do they have the know-how? Are they working in that direction?
Yeah, I think that's something we have to reach out to the government for them to know, because I think, like you're very correct, you're making a little bit of mistakes there. They should create jobs, like activities for youths, people to do and keep themselves busy so they won't be idle to think of kidnapping and other stuff. But in my own opinion, I still think if the government can maybe create industries, like in Benin, in all the different sectorial districts, like industries to employ, at least if they can employ every year 2,000 youths, and I think that would really help. But I'm going to try and pass a message across to the government, and if you can do the same as well.
Hello everybody, we're in London, and once again this Red Factor, keeping Edo lives connected worldwide. Today I'm with an Edo boy, you know, an Edo man from which part of Edo State?
Precisely from Ekpoma, but I was born and raised in Benin City, Edo State.
My name is Alex Iyamu, presenter Red Factor. Sorry, what's your name?
Mr. John Hero.
This is Mr. John Hero. Mr. John, how long have you been in this country, London?
For a while now, though. But not long enough, but for a while.
For a while now. Now coming to London, did you have expectations, or let's start from why did you leave Edo State? Why did you leave Nigeria?
Well, the first question first. Actually, anyone that wants to leave a point from get one point to another is leaving that very point to another for certain reasons, you know. And obviously, these reasons always boil down to certain factors, you know. So actually, I have hopes. I came here with hopes and high hopes and a lot of expectation.
That's so you say you came here in search of a better life.
Yeah.
You know, so
basically, yeah.
Thank you. But how has England been? Has it been? Is it that beautiful? First, when you saw it and say, "Is this place going to?" You know.
Well, I'll be frank and sincere. Abroad is abroad. Europe is Europe. Africa is Africa.
I like that.
In terms of, should I say, spectacular structures of building, nah. You can never compare London to Abuja.
Okay.
Because, but basically, it's a nice place.
It's a nice
must
place.
be fun. Yeah, the people are warm, they're caring, they're nice.
So the people were welcome.
Yeah. Now, right from the very day I touched the airport.
Do you go back home quite often?
Not really often. The last time I was there, I would say it was early 2010, over a year now.
Not over a year. That's recent. 2010 is just a year ago.
Yeah.
Was there any change from when you left?
No, really. I must tell you, actually, it's very, very worrisome what is still going on in that country. I sincerely believe that we should begin to get our acts together, for Christ's sake, as a nation, as a people. Let us begin to refocus and re-engineer our energy towards things that are more positive, things that will really touch lives, and by extension make a life a better, being Nigeria a better place for everybody. Like, for instance, now I wouldn't want to be in this country forever.
I thought so. I thought maybe if you're enjoying it so much, not many people want to go back. But let's go back to when you got home. Yeah. What struck you? What made you feel this place is not as good as it used to be?
A lot of things.
Where do we start from? You have to start from. Is it
a lot of things? Ranging from social, ethnic, cultural. There's a lot of issues in Nigeria that needs to begin to be addressed. I can't lie to you.
What about in Edo State?
Particularly in my state, yeah. But when you see, listen, I would call it a whole entity, yeah. When you taking a particular place or city or a state, and discussing it, you're indirectly discussing the entire Nigeria, the entire nation. Whatever is happening in Edo State, by extension, is happening to the every part of Nigeria. Yeah, it's just a spillover. It's the same thing everywhere in Nigeria. Where you go to, it's disheartening. There are no good roads. There are no electricity. Do you know in this time and age, there's still no electricity in Nigeria? As huge and as popular as Nigeria is, it's unfortunate.
I just came from Benin about 5 months ago. They have a better system of electricity, but not different from what you're saying, because you get 3 days on, 2 days off.
It's very sad. Listen, the thing has... Do you know it affected my psyche when I first came to this country?
Why?
I woke up, I woke up one day, I hurriedly packed my clothes. I was ironing, pressing them, hoping they were going to take like the next minute. Before it became done on me that I was not in Nigeria, I was not in Europe. No, listen, it's serious. It's a journalist. It's serious, very serious. Listen, I heard, or at least we read on the internet, things that are stuff that are going on in Nigeria. I'm not happy, and I know a lot of Nigerians are not happy.
That's
they're not happy.
True.
Electricity, number one factor. The reason why Nigeria is still in the dark is that energy that is not there.
You think if they put electricity in place?
Obviously, a lot of industries have gone comatose will begin to spring up and they'll begin to have life. I'll give you one good example, a vivid one, a very close example, a personal example. My elder brother is an engineer. Yes. That's what he did. He studied in university. So he's so good. He fabricates machine. You understand? He makes the machine. What I'm telling you now, his machine has gone far back in early 90s. He exported some machines down to Ghana. They're still using those machines till tomorrow.
The machines he made in Nigeria?
Yeah. They call it volumetric. I don't know. Let me use these terms because those are some of the terms I borrowed. I got to learn from him. But I worked with him for a while before coming to UK. He has what we call this volumetric filler machine. That these pharmaceutical companies use. He manufactures, he fabricates this one they call kappa. You buy wine now, you have to twist the cup open before. You see the machine that seals it. My brother manufactures them.
In Benin?
In Lagos though.
Okay.
In Lagos, yeah.
Okay.
So, but as I'm telling you, at a point, the small company opened went totally dead because of electricity problem.
Let me say now, there's a lot of unemployment problems in Nigeria.
So we heard.
Leading to other things like kidnapping, prostitution. When you were there in 2010, what was the biggest fear? Were you scared of armed robbery?
No,
security?
My brother, listen, I always say this wherever I go. Any man that has no identity, you understand, doesn't deserve life or doesn't deserve to live. At least as a human being, no matter how bad your country is, no matter how bad your origin is, no matter how bad your identity is, you just have to identify with your own.
Yes, this is true.
My country is my country. I can never run away from it. I know someday I will still find myself going back there. You understand?
Speaking of that, what would you like to... Would you go with the way you saw it in 2010?
Obviously, no, sir. I can't be going there in a hurry now. Because I just believe that by the time I'll be heading there, at least, let's say, corruption will be reduced to its barest minimum. This kidnapping of a thing. Do you know they even kidnap people for a ransom of as less as even £100? Just imagine. Life is now so worthless as that You could kidnap somebody and begin to demand for just a ransom of just £100, which is less than
25,000 naira.
It doesn't make sense to me.
It defeats you psychologically from.
That's the level at which Nigeria has really degraded. We just have to begin to now listen. For Christ's sake, Nigeria has got the brains. Most of the people moving the American company today are Nigerian technocrats.
Even the British.
Back to 2000, go check your facts very well. Back in 2007, Bill Clinton hosted 100 astounding Nigerians, technocrats.
America.
Yeah, Emeka Amwebele was one of them, one of the fastest computer programmer in the world, and some other outstanding individuals, Nigerians.
Tell me something. What sort of change do you expect? We've talked about many things that are not correct. Where do you think change can start from besides electricity? There's so many problems.
Yes. You see, let me borrow this word as well. According to President Barack Obama for the United States of America, he says, the problem in Nigeria is it's not about Nigerian. It's not. He said the problem we have in Nigeria doesn't have to do with laws, but rather it has to do with the enforcement. You see, the laws you create are supposed to propel and begin to be that engine room that will propel Nigeria to a greater height. You see, but the problem with Nigeria is that its laws are not being enforced.
By the leaders, or
yeah, of course. By those are the driver's seat. I'm not Mr. President. I'm not governor.
Let me say, wait. When you say the laws are not being enforced, you mean if the government passes a law, they have to lead by example.
Obviously,
yeah.
No, you can't grab a man that just steal few quid. Sorry, I'm using British terms now.
No problem.
That will just steal few naira, Nigerian few naira. You jail him. You probably even give him 5 years or 6 years. But here's a man who just took billions of naira, amounting to about maybe close to hundreds of thousands of pounds, which can never happen in the United Kingdom. That's why God bless this country. May God bless the Queen. Which can never happen in UK. Just £1,000, MP, maybe mistakenly or maybe out of over-excitement, spends extra £1,000. And there's expenditure, and it's to find out whether you resign or you call further money.
Tripping on this head, tripping on this all. What about the things I have to say? We're back, and it's Red Factor. We're talking to Edo people that have traveled out of Edo State, generally in search of a better life, but we keep cutting across to all various demographics. And today, I have the opportunity of introducing a special kind of person to you. We've gone through people that came for schooling purpose, people that came for a better life purpose, but here, I won't say no more. Here, I want you to meet and find out, just as I do, Miss Moulton. How are you, Miss Moulton?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Mr. Moulton, I heard in the grapevine, and I'm sure you're from Edo State, you know, and how did you meet London, and how did London meet you,
Okay, I first came to London, I think it was 1990, and I did my schooling in the UK. I went to school in Eastbourne first for my GCSEs, and then I did my A-levels in Surrey.
That long? You mean you've been here from let me make it clear so you understand. You were here even when Nigeria was good.
It was good when I came, yeah. That was why it was a shock the second time round, yes,
so,
yeah.
But you've been here for a little while, a little bit longer, and how have you found London, growing in London? Would you say you spent a better part of your growing up life in London?
I think definitely. I think if you're here during your teenage years, that is the most impressionable time of your life, I think. So yes, I spent it here.
How did you settle here? You have friends from Edo State, Nigeria, or you have more?
I think at that age you don't really get to choose much. You're just sent to a school, and I think the school I was in at that point, we probably had maybe 10 up to 10 blacks. And there was definitely no Edo people there.
You were the only one.
Yeah, I was the only Edo people. I had some other Nigerians from maybe Yoruba and some other parts, but no other Edo place.
And you were missing home.
Yes, at that age, yes, of course. I used to miss home all the time. Miss my family, miss my friends.
The big question is, do you still miss home?
Not recently.
Okay, and since you've been here, I take it that the rest of your family, they've joined you here, or they've been in contact more closer than before, and you found your life here, and we understand that you're a very good artist as it stands, and just because of what you've explained to us, you spent most of your life here. You seem to have more fans on this side, more influence on your music. I take it, but let me ask you, as a musician now, do you remember things, are you influenced by the little time you spent in Nigeria? Or
well, I moved back
here?
to Nigeria recently as well, and I spent 5 years. In fact, I only came back to the UK about a year and a few months, just under 2 years that I've been back. I went back home for about 5 years, and I spent some time in Lagos. So yes.
In Lagos.
Yes.
How did you? Was it a culture shock for you going back?
It was a huge shock for me.
Wow.
It was a very big change, and I thought I could hack it at first, and I did try my very, I was very tough and tried very hard to stick, but there's just so many issues there at this point that it's difficult, because the things that you get used to here as the basics for life, like water, electricity and stuff, those are things you have to fight for, and if you have it there, it's like luxury goods. So it's it was very tough. It was a good experience.
So what would you say was the reasons for coming back here? Would it be, how would I say, we cannot relate your early years to it, because when you went back you were a bit grown up, but what would you say, shocked you when you got there? And is that the same reason why you, after 5 years, you didn't see any change in it and you left?
Well, there were loads of things that shocked me, because before I left home I was too young to understand.
Yes.
So I guess coming home, when you're just becoming an adult, and then seeing things from a different angle when you're being raised in a completely different environment like that is very shocking. So the question is, has anything changed between now and then?
Did anything change within the 5 years that you got there? I take it...
Well, there were lots of good changes, I must say, because there was some good changes, because, at some point they were trying to do up Lagos roads, and I felt Fashola was doing a really good job trying to make it a bit better with that. But there were still lots of things that needed to change, so, and this is the problem, that it was an impossible situation.
Okay. Moulton is more related to the Benin kingdom, the Benin culture,
Yes.
and I'm privileged to meet you. Let me make that
Thank you.
official, and
Thank
say
you.
I'm meeting Mr. Moulton. Now, I've just been to Benin recently, and I'm a fan of yours on this side of the Atlantic. I keep going back to your name, Moulton, and I'm going back to the roots to say more women from that side need encouragement, from other women who have been able to make it, such as yourself, via your music or whatever message you're passing to them. This is because I am aware of some problems that go on in Edo State in Nigeria. From Nigeria, Edo State, where we're coming from, I regard you as a role model for women. And
Thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome. And with a name like Moulton, I regard you as a role model for women of Edo State, who currently, I've just been back home, there's various types of issues affecting women in that state. I think as a means of empowering them, encouragement and stuff like that, are you in any chance, have you heard any other kind of problems going on in Edo State, in Nigeria, from the female community?
Well, I don't know, from personal observation, obviously, because I spent a few years back home, so, I think it's a shame, because, there's so much talent, intelligence, beauty, everything in Edo State and Nigeria as a country, and I'm always very sad because I feel that that has been buried and it's not able to come out because of obviously very bad management. That is really the key issue of everything, and I think a lot of Benin women have been reduced to positions that they feel they have no other choice. Sometimes because you hear all the stories about people be going to Italy and all this kind of stuff. You know, I haven't been there, I've never really seen them, but these are the stories you hear. And all it does is to break my heart because, you know, for people to feel that that is the only options they have, it's a very sad situation.
I couldn't agree with you more. And it's not even just Italy now, it's all over Africa. And it maybe not primarily to those states, it's just grown in Nigeria as that sort of, you know, as that sort of option. But having said that, I look at you as somebody that is capable of sending a message of, you know, sending a message of change and hope just through your music and maybe the influence you have on this side, because the way I see you, I think you're well accepted on the Western side with regard to your music, your fan base, you know, and everything else like that. Now, can you, or in the future, do you have any methods of change? Sort of like, I think sometimes like a campaign to stop something, or a campaign to expose something, or a campaign to create awareness to say.
Of course, we have a lot of issues and things that needs to change, you know, and obviously music has been is a fantastic vehicle,
yes,
obviously,
yes,
to send out this message. And yes, and you know, first of all, we have to start from the cultural aspect of, you know, the country, because obviously in Nigeria we have so many different cultures, and it's from the cultures that people get their ideals and their, you know, some of the mentality from. So we need to obviously try and update the cultures. Sometimes you know, parents need to be a bit more responsible for their children and understand that it's not all about money, you know, because I don't understand how somebody will send or allow, even if their child agreed to it, their child to go out and be a prostitute in order to send them money to build houses. I don't personally consider this to be love, but you know, everybody has their own feelings and how they look at things, and it's not for me to judge them. I just want to understand it. But you know, it's just we want to make sure that people make choices because that is the choice they want to make, rather than choices that are forced on them.
Now, as a from your position, not many women are opportune enough to say stuff that can influence the general government. If I say the government per se, you know, and you can actually say things to say you are not happy with what you're hearing, you know, you are not happy with what you've seen, but you put that down to bad management, and that will be on the part of the government. What is the government
I just
managing?
feel like, you know, I'm very disappointed because I feel, yes, it's true that Nigeria is still a fairly young country, but it's like business. Some businesses, exactly, that's pretty old.
That's pretty old.
That's pretty old now. That's not like an excuse, you know. So, in my opinion, it's a shame because, in my opinion, it's such a blessed country. It has everything. It's beautiful. It has sea. It has all the minerals in the world. It has the people are intelligent. There's nothing that we don't have that God didn't give to us. Give to us, but you know, people are just a little bit greedy and you know, and lack of common sense, as I will put it, because if there was common sense, you won't steal from your own country and lock it in a place that it will be lost forever. You won't want to, you know, you want your own people to have the best. This is a very, you know, is this an insult? It's just a fact.
This is the part
I will have to speak the fact because I feel that it's part of my inheritance, and you know, it pains me that it's in that kind of state.
It's been mismanaged to this extent.
Yes, because I feel that, you know, it's a reflection of everybody that is there, which is not true. You know, I think that it's not everyone that will necessarily manage it to be a mess.
Tell me something. Would you, before I ask you if you would consider going back home to live, you know, as a final destination. But what sort of change do you recommend, and how? Talk from a woman to the man who, you know, spank the places you feel is not, you know, spank the places you feel should be straightened up.
Well, come on, guys, you know, it's time, you know. The basic needs. I mean, for instance, it's a disgrace that we still don't have electricity. We still don't have power in Nigeria. Ghana has power. Do you know how ashamed I am when, you know, I have to explain to people there's still no power in Nigeria when Ghana has power? We still have no water, stable water. I mean, I don't understand. I'm sure that we cannot point the fingers at just one person.
No,
because this is something that's been going on for a long time, and even the people that are there right now, they cannot fix it in one day. But the fact is, you know, is the idea, is the will to want to make that change.
Yes.
And that's what I said I admired Fashola for initially, because he came along and he was trying to make the change. And from the moment, I'm also hearing that your governor is also trying his best. But I'm waiting to see how, you know, all the results and what happens with that.
You know, I asked somebody, I said, you know, which I'm going to ask you, but I'm telling you, I said, what is your, what would you say to the people? Because we're in a more fortunate position. We are aware of what's going back home, but we're out of the action for a minute, you know, and we have to say words of, you know, words of encouragement to the people, as well as the government. And he said something like patience, you know, patience for the people to see the reason for what the government is trying to do.
Dedicate this one to you. Sweet mama, number one.
I think the more important thing we want to find out is how do we have an immediate solution to youth unemployment and prostitution in Edo State, whether it's a forum or whether you need to take affirmative action, you know. But we need somebody, not putting that on you, but we need somebody to come, and the theme of their campaign will be I can change. You understand? Real change. People, we've heard the governor taking 42 delegates to Ireland, money that could have been spent into changing the youth. We've heard, you've said about agricultural development. Yeah. In 2011, I think agricultural development is in the back burner, you know, as opposed to what the youths really want to do. Right. I think, do you think the government is listening to the youths, or are you going to listen to the crowd, the youths yourself?
For the governor, I think he has different aides that has to brief him on that.
Yes.
That's not my job, but as a citizen, as an adolite, I think I have to reach out to the governor whichever way I can, whether by emails or phone calls or through Facebook and all that, which I do most time. There's Edu Youth, Edu Forum and all that, which we, well, there's one thing I know, I can tell you that if you send an email, if you go to the governor's page, it definitely sees what goes on.
He responds?
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
it does. So if we and your organization can once in a while reach out to him, that would be the best avenue to get close to him, because most of the aides, they're not really communicating with the public, which is really bad. But I have a friend in government that we're really close. He's into the director of public services with the governor. His name is Greg. If you can, I'm going to leave you his number and his email. Okay. He can actually reach out to the governor on issues like this. You understand what I'm saying? Because you see, when somebody is the head,
yes,
you know, sometimes he cannot get all information.
It's
from the feelers from people like me and you,
yes,
that what's really get done. And being our own state, we need to really develop the place. That is one of the reasons why I'm always on the
forums and everywhere, trying to communicate,
trying to reach out and help the system.
Okay, now what problems are you encountering? You are an aspiring politician. You must have heard, I was researching, like I do every day, into why kidnapping in Edo State. And I'm told, some people have suggested to me, the government employ, youths in confraternity,
Right.
and during their campaign, and they're promised a better life when they win.
Yeah.
They're armed to protect the governor and do all that. And after the elections, none of their promises, they made good on any of their promise, and they leave the youths with guns and hunger and stuff. Are you in support of employing, or better yet, let me say, how clean is Edo State politics? How corrupt it is with confraternity and other outside sources? You must win by all means. Is that the way?
For me, politics is not a do or die affairs.
Good.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I've got my own business in Nigeria. I do something to keep everything going while I'm there. So it's not a do or die affair for me. Depends on the class of people you're talking about. Maybe it's their own
way of
mentality of playing politics. Well, I don't believe, for me, I don't believe that these people are used, so at the end of the day it turns around differently. I still feel if any child is nurtured well from their home, that child will ever be straightforward. Yes. You understand that?
Rome was not built in a day, but at the same time, Nigeria has equally come of age.
Yes, 51 years old.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You see, a lot has really gone bad in Nigeria. If something very bad that has been done over the years, as I'm talking to you now, who is still looting in that economy. That's the problem with Nigeria. It continues like a perpetual thing. There's never, you can't even foresee an end in sight.
Somebody told me that it's the old generation, that put the things in place. But now we're having a newer generation,
which is continuing from where they stopped.
I seem to think the new politicians are finding their feet. They're a little bit worse than the old ones now.
My brother, before I left that country and even now, I can't even tell if there's any difference. You understand? When it comes to corruption, there's no difference. Nigeria is still rated, I think, the third highest, most corrupt nation in the world, after Bangladesh and Cameroon. You understand? So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. They're one of the poorest in the country. It's like a water everywhere. That phrase, but yeah, people keep crying for water to drink. It's tasty.
Yes, but now you have to, because what we're trying to do is it's bad, but we have hope. And now because you're in a place where you have a different problem, your problem is not the same as the person in Edo State now, and you are now in a position to say some words of encouragement to that person.
Well, I just believe it. You see, when you don't give up in life, life will not give up on you. That's just what I believe. That's just the best way to summarize it. I just believe that no matter what Nigeria is passing through now, it's just a phase. I see it as a phase.
It will get better.
A time will come. People's mindset, orientation will be different.
It's there. I think it's there.
Then they will begin to think more positively about their country and about one another.
About their responsibility to their country.
Yeah.
You understand?
But because for now, a lot of elites are running loose. Nobody really seems to care about the project Nigeria. Everybody seems to care first about his own pocket. So that's what we're just having for now. But later, they will wake up, they will realize that, listen, we only have one nation. And that nation is Nigeria. Yeah. There's no way you can ever swap it for America or United Kingdom or Germany or wherever. It can always remain Nigeria and it will always be Nigeria. So the better you start thinking right and begin to do the things that will help engineer and put Nigeria in a positive perspective so that we begin to move forward, the better for everybody.
Red Factor Network, keeping Edolites connected worldwide.